Hello, I'm Kendrick Smith, the creator of Tales Yet Told, an actual play podcast focused on collaboratively telling stories at the intersection of queerness and horror using indie TTRPGs. You are about to listen to an excerpt from our latest season, 2048 AM Voices in the Wood. Voices in the Wood is an actual play series using the solo TTRPG Void 1680 AM by Ken Lowry of Bannerless Games. In it, you play a radio show host, building a playlist of songs and entertaining callers throughout your fictional radio show. Now, instead of keeping it a solo game, we decided to bring on guests to play the callers and reach out to musicians and bands to build a library of music for me and the guests to pull from. In total, the series has 16 guests and 60 songs from 28 music artists that help build the world of Sublime County and tell the story of a teenager's disillusionment with the so-called utopia in which he lives as he bears witness to the horrors the world pushes upon the people who call into his show. So, without further ado, this is 2048 AM, Voices in the Wood. Welcome back, everyone, to the way, way back, the den of nostalgia, a portal to a world long gone, 2048 AM, Voices in the Wood. I am your host with the most love for but a toast, Lil Harry, and with me on this journey, as always, is the Wolf Pack, Reggie and Donnie. Let them hear ya. All right, everybody. It is a beautiful Monday evening, not morning, here in the Sublime, because, we can only do this show after school. Honestly, if our teachers would let us do it while, instead of class, I would probably prefer that. I mean, this is work, as you all know. Like, I'm working towards my role. Hey, I'm entertaining here, huh? What am I gonna? I don't know what I'm doing. All right. I do know what I'm doing. I'm hosting this show. Now, the Wolfpack and I are ready to sit back, relax, spin the clock back a bit. And if this is your first time joining us here in the woods, let me give you the low down. Thanks to the genius mind of our producer, Maggie Bly, we're bringing you jams beamed down from just outside this humble little county of ours. That's right, from way out there. So, if you've got a song you've been itching to listen to again, or you're just ready to discover something fresh, give us a call over at 931-218-6631. That's 931-218-6631. Enough of that. We have our first caller. So, Reggie, put him on. Hello, you are on 2048 AM, Voices in the Woods with Lil Harry. Who's calling?
Oh, am I supposed to speak now?
Yeah. Usually, that's how most conversations go.
Hi? I'm Sorrel?
Hi, Sorrel. I'm Lil Harry. How's it going? What's on your mind?
Um, well, I kind of recently came into my role. It's actually, much like yours.
Oh?
The role I was given is, entertainer.
Well, look at that. Well, hello, my fellow. Tip of my hat to you.
Yeah. Um,
Sorrel, if you're going to be a talk show host, you're going to have to learn to give and get a little bit. I don't know that was weird. What was it? Give and get? I don't know. You also have to be okay with saying things that don't always make sense to people.
okay.
See, that's the thing. You said you were what, 16, 17, something like that? 15? I don't know if you said.
I didn't, should I have said? I'm sorry.
No, you shouldn't have. I'm sorry. I was assuming because you said you just got your role, and that's kind of the age that I got mine, I guess.
Like a year ago, I got it
Okay.
14, so I'm 15
Yeah.
now.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Young. Okay. You've got time. That means you've got time to figure it out, right?
But you figured it out right away, didn't you?
Not right away. It took me it takes a couple of months to get used to it and like get into the like you have some bad times, you have some good times, learn like the reason why we get our roles at that age, right, is so that we have the time to, get it wrong a little bit before we're able to start getting it right. So, you might be having issues with people seeing you right now, but maybe you won't always have that. Maybe you'll be able to unlearn whatever anxiety that is.
Did you have anxiety?
No, not really, but like my dad was always in entertainment and media, so it felt like kind of like second nature. But like every person's different, right? It's okay if you have anxieties about it. Like it's not necessarily a very natural thing to be in front of hundreds to thousands to millions of people. It's
Millions of people.
I mean, depending on how popular you get, yeah. I mean, I don't think millions of people listen to this show, but I guess when I was doing like TVs and movies, like I was, it's like a variable thing. It can change over time depending on what you're doing.
Okay.
Hey, oh,
Do you ever feel like so you've never felt like maybe you got because do you know anyone who ever felt like they got
got
the wrong role?
the um, yeah, yeah. I've known people who thought they had the wrong role. Um, Assuming you were just listening, my friend Jasper wasn't necessarily the happiest about his role. And of course, I've known other people as well, but you find a way, right? We all have to.
They all found their way.
Most of them, you know, not everyone does. But hey, I think it's a lot of persistence, you know, of making something work for you, rather than necessarily being I don't know what I'm saying. Most of them did, yes.
So it's been a while since you heard from Jasper.
I did. I don't necessarily like what you're implying.
I'm not. I'm not. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to imply anything. I
I know.
just
Sorry.
wondering. Um.
I'm sorry. That's I shouldn't have I understand. You were in a you were young. You are in a place where you have not had to do your role for very long. Um, this is, I imagine, the first time it's been really expected of you to try to like fit into society, right? Like this, it might not have been the role that you were hoping to get, you know. But we all have to work with what we're given. That's kind of life.
I guess.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I do better in my classes. No, I feel like I've been falling behind.
Oh, you gotta do good in those classes, Sorrel. That's you don't want.
They're just all like public speaking classes, and they make you stand up there.
hmm
Last week they made us wear like clown makeup and do the.
Oh, I love the clowning class. Actually, that was I was a big fan of it personally, just because there's something about clowning that's really fascinating. It has a very rich history.
Yeah, I'd love to explore that history, in a book rather than.
Experiencing it.
Yeah. I guess I'm still lost on what the stranger wants from me. Don't know how to best do my role. Feels like everyone else has it so easy.
Well, I can almost guarantee you, Sorrel, that you are not alone. That there are many people who have struggled with their classes, struggled with their roles. You are not the first, and you aren't going to be the last. That's for sure. Um, and yeah, maybe talk to your guidance counselor. Maybe they can help. Figure out what it is that's not
necessarily clicking for you for this role, maybe they can help start pushing you in the right way.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah. Do you have a song you like to listen to right now? I sometimes forget this is a radio show, so we do play music.
The song I've kind of lately been listening to is "Hope It Was Worth It" by My Heart, My Anchor.
Oh, okay, that's kind of an interesting song. I like that. You
Uh,
good over there?
yeah. There's a there's someone at my door.
Oh, are
I
you
think I need to.
okay?
Yeah, I think I'm fine. I just need to go get the door.
Okay.
Thank you so much for
Yeah, no,
having
for
me. I
sure.
guess. All right,
Yeah,
I
no.
gotta.
Uh, uh, oh, um, this is, uh, okay. This was Hope It Was Worth It by My Heart, My Anchor.
I'm coming clean. This is exactly where I did not wanna be. In the space between myself and gravity.
To avoid the incident that happened last year, we are asking that people only audition if you have been assigned the role of actor. Please, we don't want any more hiccups or anything like that. We just want we want to have a smooth show this year. So please, only actors come to auditions this weekend.
Okay. I might be a little morbidly curious. You did kind of throw a thing out there to the audience that
I'm just trying to be honest. It'll just be so much better for all of us if we just stick to the plan.
what happened last year?
Well, you you know, I'm afraid. Your show is wonderful. I am also afraid that children might be listening right now. I could.
That's okay. I guess we can take a quick.
Would it be okay?
Yeah, I mean, we can. It's a little. This isn't anything we normally do. I guess we could take a quick pause here, audience. And if you would like to tell me the story, we can see if it's okay to put on air. Just so I feel like it would be in people's best interest to be informed, so we can.
Of course, of course.
Reggie, if you could just, thanks. We will be back in but a moment.
Okay. Last year, we had a woman audition for Foes in the Forest. She kept to herself that she was not an actor when she auditioned. She made it very clear that this was the role that she was showing up for, and we believed her. And she was not actually an actor. She was a midwife. That she'd been in that role for years, and she did not disclose that in the audition process.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah. So she rehearsed with us for months, and I didn't know that the stranger had discouraged her from this. I had no idea. I would have said something.
Yeah, no, if she hadn't told you, there's no way you could have known.
Apparently, he had issued her multiple warnings. I don't know if she thought it was a joke, but it was opening night of our first weekend, and she was up on stage, and we had a packed house, and everybody was so excited. And it got more exciting in the worst way. He turned her into a stork on stage. And it was.
Oh my god.
It was not like it was not how it normally is. You know, you hear stories about people starting to change. You hear that. But it was so fast. It was so fast. It was unpleasant
I'm sorry. That's
to watch.
I can't even imagine.
And some people screamed and ran out, and some people stayed and watched like it was part of the show.
What?
I don't know.
Oh my god. Why did I not hear about this?
I think everybody after that, was told to
Yeah, no, that's
keep it. It was
okay.
it was an incident. It was
understandable. Okay.
and I don't want the kids to hear this.
Yeah. No.
This is like stories you tell your kids to like keep them in, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
This is scary.
no, I understand. I think then, yeah, let's we don't have to tell that story. We don't have to tell that story on air. Yeah, understood. Okay. Reggie, if you could do it. Frankie, how's it going? What's on your mind?
You know, I'm not going to lie, Harry, when you first started this show up, I was a little bit skeptical because I just don't know what value there is in thinking about the outside, consuming the materials from outside, the sublime. Feels like it's tempting the patience of the stranger a little bit.
Okay, Frankie, I'm going to be honest. You came at me with a lot right off the top there. You sound like some of my teachers. I'm
not trying to go hard on you. I just feel like it's having some consequences that maybe you didn't quite intend.
Such as what?
I mean, a lot of us don't think about it, like even if we were there. And a lot of us were comfortable with that. I'm comfortable with that. But my boyfriend Lucky, he was never comfortable with that. And when your show started, he got, I don't know how to put it, nostalgic and jaded at the same time.
Jaded, how so?
It's like when you play these songs from before or from outside, it made him feel like there was a person that he was supposed to be, or that he was at some point, that was taken away from him or locked down. And I mean, first of all, can I just say that, like, the stranger saved us.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
I know exactly what I'm doing with my life. I know exactly what everyone around me is doing with my life. And that's the way it should be. Right. And it's a gift, frankly. And Lucky and I started fighting about that. He started having thoughts like, I don't want to be a pizza delivery guy anymore.
I hear where you're coming from, but I don't know if the music is necessarily to blame for that. I mean, music is, it's music. I don't know if you actually listen to the show, Frankie, and like hear people calling in, but there are a lot of people who call in who find a lot of hope and joy in being able to connect with this thing that they once had. And obviously everybody's a little different. They're going to take it a little differently. And I'm sorry that your boyfriend is, taking it, in some way. But
Look, I'm not saying it's your fault, but I am saying that, we used to have fights about this kind of thing like once a month. And then your show started and it was like once a week. And after a couple weeks, it was every single day, like, don't you ever think about the outside? Didn't that song make you remember? And I don't wanna, I don't want to think about that. And in fact, when I think about that too hard, I think about those creatures that I see scampering off into the forest and how disgusting they are, and how I'm so frustrated that they can't just be happy where they're at. And, eventually every fight was turning into this. Frankie, stop talking so much shit about everybody. Frankie, stop leaving your clothes all over the floor. Frankie, stop smoking so much. Frankie, stop calling my mom whenever we have a fight. And those would all just evolve into, Frankie, this isn't who we are, but it is who I am, okay? And now Lucky isn't, now nobody can find him.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, well, I'm really sorry to be experiencing it. honestly, especially when I saw something a couple nights ago outside of town.
Mm-hmm.
Usually they avoid me. They know how I feel, you know. I don't want to be around them. They can do whatever they want. To me, they represent the ultimate betrayal of the stranger. This one didn't run away when I approached. It didn't run away when I clicked my flashlight at it. It had long ears. It had distended, long feet. It had some fur in some areas, skin in others. And I think it knew me. And I think it might have been lucky. And I think this show might be what started all of that, Harry.
Do it. Have you ever done something like against your will, and you've hated it, and you hated it, and slowly you find yourself sort of like, it feels almost like Stockholm syndrome, where, there's this thing that I've hated for a long time, and I'm starting to find joy in it.
Yeah. No, yeah, Corey, I go to school. I get you. I got to do things that I don't like all the time. But yeah, that's kind of what life is, right? You try to find something in it that you can like about it. Hey, like this show.
But isn't it like a betrayal of like who you were? I mean, if 16-year-old me heard what I was doing now, I think he'd beat my ass.
I mean, maybe, I guess. I mean, do you think that your 16-year-old self wouldn't give you like a little bit of grace or something, like just like, of course, I was born into the sublime, so I don't know what it's like out there truly. But I think we find ourselves in different places at different times at points. So like, you can only really work with what you got, life ain't your lemons, make lemonade, all that good stuff. Like, could they be mad at you for doing the thing that, you know, makes sense for right now?
I don't know, maybe I just feel bad at myself right now. I mean, it's coming up close on 10 years being here in the Sublime, and I feel like every day a little bit more and more of me is gone. But like that dream, the original dream, I used to tag stuff. I used to, draw notebooks, and I always wanted that to be the thing that I did forever. But, now I find joy making pumpernickel, and yeah, there's some artistry in it, but that isn't what the original dream is. And if I give that up, am I still who I was at 16? Is that person lost forever and just this guy's left?
Well, I, I mean, I don't. Sorry, I wish I had a better answer for you. I guess. I mean, I'm still kind of going through some of that myself. From my own experience, I didn't want to always be like a radio show host. I didn't want to do all that like television and movie. Yeah, whatever. I, you know, I wanted to be a musician, right? Me and my friends had a band that we used to be a part of. But you find ways to, enjoy what you do have to do.
I think maybe it's just like a fear of like change, or like change not on my own terms. That makes sense. Like I'm adapting, but I'm not changing in the ways that I wanted to change, and trying to find some sense of control in that. And I've just been, no, really thinking about that a lot, about like, I don't know, feeling like this immense guilt around like being happy, and like a betrayal of like my younger self, and like, am I going to be Corrie the baker instead of Corrie the artist? And like, I know like there's an out, right? There's an out in that, but like then like that 16-year-old self, no matter what, like dies, like or is gone forever.
Yeah. Um.
Sorry, man, this must be really heavy.
Yeah. No. Hey. No, you're good. I appreciate the call. I guess I haven't gotten quite there myself. Um.
Yeah,
But
I, I think really wanted was just like to say it to somebody else, and like,
yeah.
Harry, you've been, I know, I love the show. You guys have been like such a rock, and there is something, I don't know, nostalgic about like the stuff you all play. how like it's feels like the last bastion of like what I was. Like I don't remember what my mom's face looks like, or what the rain felt like, out there, but I don't know, like the art was the last thing like keeping me anchored to like a life that like I don't know, I'll never get back.
We're almost done, and then I
We're
can go
almost
home,
done.
and then
Do you get graded for this?
I will eventually if they don't just kick me out.
I consider the part that you're in control of to be very good, though I don't think you needed me to tell you that. I think it would have been true regardless. The alternative is silence,
Is there anything wrong with that?
There's a lot that's wrong with it. Nobody talks about how much it hurts. Our bones weren't meant to do the things that they did to people and that they're doing to people. Our nerves weren't meant to crush in the way they did. Our skeletons weren't meant to come out or dissolve or transform. And we're just supposed to roll with it because it's magical. But we also didn't talk about it because it was supposed to happen to bad people, right?
Yeah.
So silence normalizes it. I could have told you to pronounce my name correctly, and we could have sat in that tension. But I have a million names, and that tension would stretch to infinity, and it would have been a grand exercise in learning compassion. Any of that would be preferable to silence. But when you're being watched all the time, that's the sign of someone who's well behaved, right? You don't think you're doing enough here?
I don't know if I should be doing anything.
What if it's just us, like talking to us,
Me,
and us,
and also me.
and, whoever else could be listening?
I'd say no one else is listening, but I know that's not true.
There's been a variety of callers, to put it mildly, right? I still can't explain with science how I could catch the radio waves. But it's something like magic, right? Like,
as far as I know, I don't know how the waves work. People listen, and people call in, but more people listen than call in, I would imagine.
People treat that technology as if you pluck it from a tree and it's handed to you. But isn't it magical that I could be outside of the sublime, for all you know, and I'm talking to you because some vibrations in the air deemed it so, and someone else is listening because some vibrations in the air deemed it so.
You got a real strange way of thinking for what I understand to be bugs inside of a tree.
That is the reduction. I think at first we were a tick and a possum, and we were supposed to be together forever, but possums eat ticks. That's the thing about them. Possums are very underrated creatures,
Yeah.
But I think being alone and not having anyone else's opinions in here has made me strange, and that's okay. That's why it's nice to talk. If it wasn't important, I wouldn't be doing this, because you've heard of the tree if you haven't seen the tree.
Did something happen to the tree?
I'm dying. If you could describe me as a column of cellulose holding up autumnal leaves of many shades that are rapidly turning red right now, then yes, I'm dying.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I don't even know. I guess that's just what
It is the reality, isn't it? It doesn't really feel like dying in the first time that happened, if you would believe it.